Last week, more than 200 people gathered outside Barrie City Hall to protest the council's decision to build a sports field and parade ground near the waterfront in Barrie. The new parade ground will be used by the Sea Cadets for parades, and a multi-use sports field with a plastic astrofield is also planned. Protesters said they were not opposed to the parade ground and the sports field, but wanted them to move away from the Allandale Station Park to prevent the destruction of the ecosystem and microplastic pollution of Lake Simcoe due to the astrofield. The protest was arranged by Friends of Allandale Park. Host of the event, Arnie Ivsins, complained about the lack of consultation with the broader public and called for reconsideration of the decision.
In a perfect world, 4 city councilors will change their mind and join Councillors Harris and Corser and put in a motion to reconsider the vote. And because basically my understanding is they need a minor majority, so 6 councillors, to put forward a recommendation to reconsider the motion for public consultation.
Environmentalist and community leader Cathy Colebatch said the outreach by concerned citizens has gathered more than 7,000 signatures opposing the proposed development on the waterfront.
Certainly in the 32 years I've been here in Barrie, this is the largest rally I have seen for anything. And I'm very impressed with people coming out. So I think that should send a message to all of council that the people are the city, as we say, and the waterfront belongs to the people.
Following is the video of the event, followed by our interviews with Arnie Ivsins and Cathy Colebatch.
Acknowledge the enduring presence of the Indigenous peoples of this region, specifically the Chippewa Tri-Council First Nations, comprised of the Beausoleil First Nation, the Chippewas of Rama, and the Chippewas of Georgina Island. We also acknowledge the Moose Deer Point First Nation, the Wata Mohawks, the Georgian Bay, and Moon River Métis councils in this region. It should be noted that the Wendat and the Haudenosaunee nations have also walked in this territory over time. That land acknowledgement was developed by the Barrie Native Area Advisory Circle. Welcome everyone. My name is Arnie Ivsins, and on behalf of the Friends of Allandale Station Park, thank you for joining us today. As always, we want people to know that we are not against a sports field, just not one located on our waterfront.
Yes.
Don't look too close, but here's my minor soccer team when I was about 9 years old. So this is about 1969. I played soccer all through high school. I'm playing hockey tonight at 8 p.m., so we're going to have to wrap it up before 8, just going to let you know. I love sports, but if a sports field is so desperately needed, then find a new location.
Yes.
With no washroom facilities within a half a kilometer of this proposal, porta potties will be lined up along Lakeshore Drive. What a sight for tourism and residents alike. We feel that there are numerous options located within city limits, as well as a sports complex in Midhurst.
Yes.
The city is aware of them. We also support the Navy and Sea Cadets relocation to the General Hayter South Shore area with an adjacent parade ground west of the center.
Yes.
This sports field half a kilometer away does not serve their purposes. I had to take a look around because we stood here 2 weeks ago. In planning that rally, we thought that maybe 50 people would show up, hoping for 100. Boy, were we wrong. And I would say a good 200 of you took the time from your busy days' lives to stand with us that day to proclaim that what the city is doing at our waterfront is not acceptable. And so after that rally, we were concerned that if we organized another and fewer people showed, it would show that whatever momentum we had built had waned. Boy, were we wrong! Look at all you beautiful people. This is amazing. Bring it on. I was watching a news broadcast the other night that was covering a protest, and the person being interviewed described it as collective action. And that term has stuck with me, because that is exactly what this is. We have built a collective of concerned citizens, all volunteers, And with our collective efforts and actions, we have spread the word with people knocking on doors with flyers and petitions, sharing info on social media, others calling and emailing the mayor and city councilors, conversations in coffee shops, bumping into friends at the grocery store, chatting to the stranger next to you in line at the bank, showing up here today. Every little bit becomes a piece of the collective action to tell Barrie City Council to find a solution. Find a resolution. Reconsideration. This one and last remaining peaceful refuge in our waterfront must remain in the hands of the many and not the few. Right. It must remain for all residents. It must remain for all residents and visitors to our waterfront a place to reflect, to find calm, and for nature to thrive. What is your favorite planet? Earth. So I didn't hear that. What is your favorite planet? Earth. Many thanks to Earth Drum for opening the proceedings and reminding us of Mother Earth's heartbeat. We have a number of speakers today that will cover various aspects of this collective action. First, I would like to introduce someone who for many years, along with the late Al McNair, and bless you, Al. A round for Al McNair, please. I know Al's spirit is here. And was a planning and development consultant. She, along with Al, fought vigorously to protect our waterfront and has been a valued source of support and guidance for the Friends of Allandale Station Park. Please welcome Barb Marshall.
Hi everyone, can you hear me? We're good? Excellent. So I have some questions to ask of you today. And I want to share some of my concerns. And I want to finish asking City Council two things. So first of all, the questions about you. I'm going to be asking where you live. I'm going to ask you about the waterfront. I'm going to ask you about our recreational facilities. And this is your time to have fun. It's time to hang up those signs and yell and scream because I want to hear you. So a big shout out. The first question is, are you a Barrie resident? Question number 2. Do you and or your family use and enjoy our waterfront parkland? Question number 3. Do you and or your family enjoy our many wonderful recreational facilities in this city? Okay, now I got a trick question. This is a hard one. Are you ready? Do you know the ward that you live in? Okay, a big shout out. For those of you who live in Ward 1, let's hear from you. Do you live in Ward 2? How about Ward 3? Ward 4? Ward 5? Ward 6? Ward 7? Ward 8? Ward 9? And finally, Ward 10. So I'm hearing that the citizens of Barrie in this group are saying we appreciate our waterfront, we appreciate our recreational facilities, and we care about this city. So now I'd like to share with you some of my concerns about this decision to put a multi-purpose sports field in Allandale Station Park. My first concern is that there has been no community-wide consultation on this.
Shame is right. Shame! 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 Shame!
Thank you, thank you. I got more concerns. So my second concern is that the waterfront strategic plan does not say that this is an area for a sports field. It talks about planting more trees and eco-education. My next concern is that the city has already conducted a study of our needs for outdoor recreation. And that says that an artificial turf field belongs in our Barrie Community Sports Complex up in the north end.
That's right. That's right.
It also says that we have, at the moment, 35 surplus soccer fields.
Right.
When the city consulted with representatives of baseball, lacrosse, soccer, rugby, football, most of those representatives said, we want to be in a complex that has lots of fields, lots of washrooms, and lots of parking. So the sports people are saying something to us as well. As human beings, we all have a need to play. We need our sports fields. We all have a need to go to nature to find harmony. And that can happen in our waterfront natural areas.
Can you speak louder? They can't hear
Yes,
back there.
and we all have a need to hear and to be heard. When we all work together, we can come up with solutions that work for everybody. Members of City Council, Mayor Nuttall, Barrie residents that are here today are telling you we care about the waterfront, that we care about sports facilities, and that we care that you listen to us. I am requesting two things. First of all, that City Council reconsider its decision to put a multi-use sports field in Allandale Park, Allandale Station Park. And my second and last request to Barrie Council is that you invite residents from all over the city to contribute to a decision for Allandale Station Park. Thank you very, very much.
Many thanks, Barb. Next, I would like to call on a fella who not only created and administers the wildly popular Friends of Allandale Station Park Facebook page, so look it up when you get home, but has also been a strong voice and a great support for myself. Thank goodness there's two early risers, because at 6 o'clock, I know he's awakened, so he's like, oh, we talk about stuff. So please welcome Mr. Brian Miller.
Thanks, Arnie. It's kind of funny, going 2 weeks ago, we didn't have a Facebook page. We took over Allandale Community Happenings, a private group, and Arnie and I talked about it, as did our working group. We're an unofficial volunteer working group. We don't have positions. We all kind of just do things that we've been volunteered to do. So anyhow, Arnie and I were talking about this Facebook page, and I said, well, it was a Saturday morning, we had company coming, and I thought, well, it's early in the morning, birds are chirping. I went into the bedroom and said, okay, on the computer, and away we go. And here we are. And here you are, and because of this page, it only gets bigger, because we've been able to get everybody across the city in all the different wards. Michelle's going to speak later. And I've tried to moderate as best I can so people don't, aren't abusive. And I encourage everybody, and my ultimate goal for this page, when we're successful and this multi-purpose field moves elsewhere, the ultimate goal is for residents and citizens that visit our city to go on the page and say, hey, what's Allandale Station Park all about? We're going to share photographs. It can be like I can't say TripAdvisor, I don't know. But it's somewhere, though, it's a public group where you can go on, share your experiences, share the beauty of Allandale Station Park. I'm not going to talk much more about that because Arnie's got hockey. I'd like to bring everybody's attention. I put a post on it regarding Dorian Parker. She was mayor of Barrie from 1972 to 1976, I believe it was. She was on council back in 1966 till she became mayor. Sunnydale, for a lot of the older people here, it was before my time here. We came up here in '88. But Sunnydale Park is what we know of today. I didn't know back in the day it was the Barrie Country Club. The city of Barrie took possession of that, and the council of the day wanted to sell it to developers. Well, with all due respect to the 11 councillors that Dorian had to go up against, she was able to convince them to keep Sunnydale Park as it is. So I asked one of our council members, and I know we have two that opposed this, and thank you, Jim Harris and Amy Corser. I am asking one of our council members to be a champion like Dorian Parker was for Sunnydale Park and do the same for Allandale Station Park. And so I'm not too long-winded here. In regards to what Barb was saying earlier regarding the sports complex, we did take a walk, my wife and I and our dog, up to the Simcoe County Forest, which is north of the sports complex. It's a wonderful park up there as well. When we came out of there, we saw people with travel trailers. It was a busy park. The biggest field, the football field, was empty. But every other field was full. They had flag football going on, and they had an amazing fastball tournament. I think it was girls, actually, that were going on there. And there had to be a half a dozen travel trailers. That is why people want sports complexes, because they go to that one location. This multi-purpose field, for as wonderful as our council thinks it's going to be for tournaments, it doesn't make sense. Are these people that go to the sports complex going to pull their travel trailers? Are they going to bring their buses to the waterfront? Where are they going to park? It's idiotic. And that's why I say there's an alternative location for this multi-purpose field. And lastly, so I don't keep going, because I could, in regards to our Sea Cadets, I think it's wonderful that council has said, yes, let's get them out of that building, whether it's the most valuable property as the mayor considers it. Maybe monetarily, I consider Allandale Station Park the most valuable. Now, in saying that, I'll bring your attention to, in Windsor, the Department of National Defense. They built a fully functioning naval reserve, HMCS Hunter. They have an indoor drill deck. That's what the cadets and naval folks call it. It's a drill deck. You can call it a parade square if you wish. The drill deck is the size of a gymnasium. It's the size of a basketball court, 50 feet by 100 feet. And that indoor facility, which is what the Sea Cadets originally wanted, they wanted 25 meters by 75 meters indoor facility so they can do dry land training, and they'd be adjacent to the South Shore Center, say, if they went there. Unfortunately, 450 meters, the cadets would have to walk in the dark, because they basically meet Wednesday nights, September through till June. They then have some forms of camps throughout the summer. But how are they going to carry all their dry land gear 450 meters where there are no washrooms, or as Arnie suggests, who knows how many outhouses, porta potties. But at the end of the day, it's silly. Like, why not look at a, I don't know, 30 meter by 35 meter drill deck, or if you have to block off the parking lot. But there's got to be an alternative. And I know they've reduced the size to 78 meters by 120 meters, but you know what? They still left it open that it can only get bigger because it's zoned open space. Let's leave the open space. Well, maybe we can turn the open space into the Allandale Lawn Bowling Club that was down where the railway or where the bus terminal is right now. You know, I'm not talking to the lawn bowling people, but I know it still exists. It's up at the indoor sports dome. Oh wait, I think Barrie Soccer wants an indoor sports facility as well. Maybe we should start working with that, and we should start looking at the lands to our south to build something that our twin city in Saginaw, Michigan has. They have a soccer sports complex that has, I believe it's 21 full-size fields, and it's one of the biggest ones down there in Michigan. And it is loved by all kinds of sports people. So anyhow, I'm not going to go on. Arnie's got more speakers, so thank you very much, and thank you for everybody coming.
Thanks, Brian. Next, I would like to introduce someone who, along with her neighbors at Minette's Point, are the ones who started the petition that many of you have signed, and that has been one of the backbones of this collective action. Please welcome Michelle Newton.
Right. I may have to get you chanting. I love that. So, on May 7th, when a small group of us scrambled to find a way to get council's attention, we didn't know that today our petition would have over 6,100 online signatures and about 1,000 physical signatures. What should this be telling council? A lot of people care about and don't want to see this natural habitat on our waterfront destroyed. It's not the right location for a multi-use sports field. Why did they decide not to consult with residents on such an important matter? As of today, council has still not recognized or responded to the petition. What's it going to take for our elected officials to hear us? Save the park! 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 Yes. Save the park! Many of us and community members feel so strongly to this point, the mayor and councillors who voted in favor of developing a sports field on our waterfront are not being held to account. Why is a petition and comments from over 6,000 individuals not enough to cause pause and reconsideration by the elected members of our council? Remember, not too long ago, a petition with just 90 signatures stopped the proposed deconstruction of this same natural habitat. Why do they continue to ignore the wishes of a growing number of their constituents that council find another location for the sports field? Our work is not done here until this development is stopped. Yes. That's right. Save the park! Save the park! Save the park! You can help. Write letters to your mayor and council. Call them and ask for explanation as to why they went ahead without asking for input from you and the community. Tell them you're against the location, but you are in agreement that we need a sports field and a parade ground somewhere else. Over the summer, we need you, our volunteers, to canvass every home in Barrie to continue adding names to the growing petition. We may need some financial support to print out flyers to keep up with these efforts. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Share these posts across your own media and keep the word growing. Our petition is online, so scan those QR codes and add your name. If you're interested in helping, come and see me afterwards and I'll enter you on the computer as a volunteer. There's still time to stop the development in this location. It doesn't need to become council's mistake on the lake. Say no! Say no! Say no! Save our lake, and we don't want a sports field on our waterfront today. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. This next gentleman, I have the utmost respect for his years of experience in not only municipal but environmental matters. With his wealth of knowledge from Aesop tales there's a story there, to boat building, he's a true Renaissance man. Please welcome Mr. Bill Scott.
Thank you all very much. Could you hear me at the back if I shout like this? Yeah. Good. Yes. How many of you have ever walked along the waterfront trail in front of the threatened forest? Great. How many of you have ever seen a sign that said, "A change is proposed for this site"? No. And yet this story has been around for a year now. We have the right to be consulted, and we were not consulted. If you read Barrie today, you will see there's a letter from Brian Ward that suggests that if Premier Ford can back down on public opposition, perhaps the council and the mayor here could back down on public opposition as well. Although we have heard unofficially that things are different now, that there's not going to be astroturf, the field is going to be much smaller now, they're not going to cut any trees down. I looked at the city website this afternoon, and the city website this afternoon still thinks it's going to be astroturf at the waterfront in the big area. So there are still changes to be made. If you cut those trees down, this is a time everybody agrees that climate change is looming over our shoulders and making huge differences. So you plant saplings. In 40 or 50 years, they might be absorbing the carbon that the forest that is there now is doing right now. We can't afford that. So save our park and call your councillor. Thank you.
Many thanks, Bill. For our next speaker, if I listed every qualification he has, several of us would be celebrating birthdays. This is only part of his experience. City of Barrie's Environment Advisory Committee, PhD Physiology, Industrial Chemist, taught at University Introductory Level Chemistry for the Physician Assistant course at Base Borden, and founding mentor of Environmental Action Barrie, now living green. Please welcome Dr. Peter Bertson.
Hello, everybody.
Speak up, Peter.
I think one of my better qualifications is that I was on the city's Environmental Advisory Committee for 8 years with Al McNair. So, do I have to swallow this thing? Oh, yeah, all right. This morning, I walked with my rowing buddy, who's over there in the back, all the way to the end of the trail on the north end. And there we sat on a bench that was dedicated to Willard Kinsey. And I urge you to go and see that bench, because Willard Kinsey will be remembered forever as the person who had the vision of a trail and a waterfront for the people. And I will suggest to you that Mayor Nuttall will be remembered for about 3 or 4 years as the person who started to take a bite out of it. Now, I was asked to say something about synthetic sports fields. The stuff is made out of plastic. When you pound on the stuff with rugby cleats and soccer cleats and marching boots, and then little bits break off, and then the sun attacks those little bits and turns them into microplastics. And then the next rainfall will rinse them into our lake. And it may have escaped the notice of our councillors, but less than 1.5 kilometers away from that park, there is no intake for the city's water treatment plant. Now, you can't take microplastics out of water without doing really expensive things to them. Really expensive, like boiling and filtration, or like reverse osmosis. Can you imagine doing reverse osmosis on all the water that the South End drinks? Really? Anyway, so what harm are microplastics? They are chemically inert, but chemically inert or not, I've looked around for some research. There isn't a lot because they've only been recognized as being an environmental problem for about a decade or so. Prior to that, who cares? Well, the only piece of research that I've been able to find that has been well done, like a controlled study, one group of worms, yeah, that's right, earthworms, the thing that robins eat, was in soil that had no microplastics in it, and another group was in the same soil into which microplastics had been added. The earthworms that were in the microplastic soil weighed 30% less. Now, who cares? Well, I don't know. Who cares? I'm not an earthworm. But wait a second. We're not that far away from them. We still have a metabolic rate. We still have a system that absorbs stuff from the environment, from our food. And what about the robins that all of us like, who are eating those earthworms? They're eating the microplastics too, because the earthworms have microplastics now incorporated into their poor, skinny little bodies. Anyway, so the bottom line is, we don't know how harmful microplastics are to people. My question is very simple. Do we really want to find out? No! So let's not add yet another source of microplastics to our lake. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Peter. Now we're heading into the birds and the bees part of the program. Parents, I think you know what I mean. Our next speaker was a friend of Al McNair's who collected the funds and arranged for his memorial bench that is just east of the South Shore Centre. A picture of that bench can also be found on our Facebook page. She's a former Ontario Nature Huronia Regional Director of Simcoe Muskoka. She has a Bachelor of Science and college degrees in Accounting and Animal Health. Please give a warm welcome to Dorothy McCune.
Hi, I'm also a member of the Barrie Bird Friendly City team who worked on getting Barrie certified as a bird friendly city. Under Al's guidance, in January 2020, Council passed a motion to increase the naturalization of Allandale Station Park under the guidance of an ATS working group. Unfortunately, COVID hit, and the group was disbanded, and we didn't have any, and there weren't any more meetings for quite a while. During COVID, though, the Barrie Bird Friendly certification team, created with representatives of several environmental groups, who are probably here today, in Barrie and area to analyze Nature Canada's criteria and determine if Barrie had a chance to deserve certification. June 16, 2022, Barrie became the 15th city in Canada to be certified as a bird-friendly city, but at entry level only. This summer, we have to reapply for recertification, and I'll outline why that may be difficult due to Council's recent actions. The goal of certification is to provide guidelines for a city to make it safe for birds due to the decline in numbers. Mid-May, for the last 3 years, including a few weeks ago, either the Deputy Mayor or the Mayor has read a proclamation for World Migratory Bird Day, which includes, whereas Barrie, in its location on Keppenfelt Bay, is an important destination for migratory birds to stop off to feed and rest. As you may know, bird watching has become one of the highest growing sports. People come from all over to view the birds here in Barrie. One of the criteria to be a bird-friendly city is habitat protection, restoration, and climate resiliency. To improve the breeding and stopover habitat, reducing threats to birds' health, safety, and breeding success, community outreach and education. So why a sports field on the waterfront is bad for birds and humans? Taking away the last large natural area on the waterfront trail enjoyed in Barrie by all people 365 days a year. A lighted sports field on the waterfront goes against the dim the lights for birds at night, which the mayor has also declared every year, as birds navigate by the moon, the stars, and they're disoriented when they see lights. Noise disturbance may cause them to desert their nests. Phyllis, my friend over here, did a bird count this morning, and there were 22 species of birds there, including brown thrashers and savanna sparrows, which showed signs of feeding their young. Purple martin boxes were recently installed on rotary islands, and which are important insectivores because they eat thousands of insects a day and help keep the insects under control and everybody healthy. My friend Peter Hoyer talked about artificial turf. Now, one of the other problems is its heat retention and the asphalt parking lots. Does that add to our climate change strategy? I don't think so. And as you may recall, my name is Dorothy, and if those of old enough to remember the Wizard of Oz, I've been fascinated by tornadoes all my life. Now, tornadoes are formed when a cold front meets a warm front, or warm earth, and it follows heat sources. Barrie is in Tornado Alley of Ontario. Unfortunately, I live safely on the North Shore. South Shore seems to get the tornadoes, so do we want to add another heat source? No. As we said, microplastics, as Peter very well illustrated, microplastics in your drinking water is not a good idea. If you've ever gone downtown, the end of Kempenfelt Bay in the fall, you'll see that there are thousands, if not millions, of emerald shiners, which are little minnows. Emerald shiners are what brings in all our migratory birds in the fall. You'll see, and there's thousands, if not millions. I always go and look just to see them. It's just fascinating to look at. They, so in the fall, you see the emerald shiners, and millions, hundreds of thousands of birds eat those shiners, and that's why you'll see hundreds, if not thousands, of loons, including Pacific loons. You'll see mergansers, gulls, and swans, mergansers, loons, grebes, ducks, geese, and gulls. And then you might see a bald eagle flying overhead, who of course wants to catch one for his lunch. Hawks, terns, yes. And if you do see a Pacific loon or something, you get bird watchers coming, of course it gets on eBird, you have people coming from the GTA all over Ontario. Right. When there was some glaucous gull, I can't even remember what it was called, people came from all over Ontario to see it. And these are tourists who are coming to Barrie because of Kempenfelt Bay, not because of a sports field on the waterfront. That's right. And in the winter, people are bird watching out there. Oh, when we do our Christmas bird counts, there were 63 species in the middle of December. Middle of December. So, and my kingfisher, I championed the belted kingfisher to be our city bird because I thought it was a good representative to protect the lake, or protect the bay. And our kingfisher was here right until mid-December. They're here till a few weeks before the ice fishermen are out. So, my word to City Council is live up to your past promises and reverse this decision.
Thank you, Dorothy. Our next speaker is a high school teacher and co-founder of Pollinate Barrie, an ecological gardening organization that has helped put thousands of native plants in the ground in this town since their inception in 2022. She grew up in Barrie, raises her family here, and works to make Barrie a safer, greener, and more sustainable place for everyone. Please welcome Ashley Hamill.
Oh, my kid's here to hold my sign. So, I first heard about this whole proposal, and my visceral first response was this overwhelming, oh God, why? Why there? Why bulldoze a naturalized area in the heart of our town when there are other places, more strategic places, places that need less work? Why another source of cars and light and activity and sound where we all know we have a lot of that already? We have reminders every single year. Why take one of the few spots left with enough vegetation to absorb the climate crisis's deluging rain that's only going to come more frequently now? And why turn it into this paved situation so that it's a source of runoff when we spend millions of dollars trying to manage drainage issues in this town and in that area? It feels nuts.
It is.
Why put a plastic field that degrades in the sun and leaches into the lake and bakes the landscape and scrapes knees and still takes 40,000 liters of water a summer to reduce the temperature enough to actually make it playable, and professionals don't even want to play on it anyway? And why put it in a place that they decided just 2 years ago was supposed to be Oak Savanna? Which, I don't know if you know this, I started pollinate berry, habitat's sort of my jam. So Oak Savanna used to be everywhere here. It was what existed here before we paved everything. And now it's one of the most endangered habitats on Earth. Because we keep making urban planning decisions like this. No way! And why now, mere days after deciding that we're gonna adopt a shorebird that needs a naturalized waterfront as a symbol of our city? I say all of this stuff and I say it out loud, it sounds ridiculous. I feel like it's clown shoes. Giving up clean water in exchange for a sports field is a bad deal. That's transparent, right? I'm not nuts. Barrie really likes to make declarations. Is it a climate emergency or not? Are we a bee city or a bird city or not? Is it strategic and important to keep naturalized areas or not? I know that the mayor's been calling a lot of people, smoothing a lot of feathers, and that feels nice and it feels like progress. But municipal government is a Byzantine institution and it has lots and lots of rules and lots of regulations. And frankly, the mayor can tell you whatever he wants. But if nobody's putting forward a strategic motion in council, if no one's playing by strategic municipal rules, he may as well be promising you a pink elephant parade. That's as much good as it's going to do us. So we don't have a lot of time. Yes, bud. I don't know those Byzantine municipal rules. I'm a teacher, I'm a mom, I know ecosystem rebuilding and how to serve goldfish crackers and how to level with teenagers. But I have a feeling that some of you know this stuff. And if you don't, some of you have the capacity to learn it fast. In like 2 weeks, council calls it for the summer. I feel like we probably have to get some strategic handfuls of Kempenfeld Bay dirt in the gears of municipal government now so that we can protect the lake. We need strategy, we need to act meaningfully, we need to keep meeting like this. I'm hosting a walk through Allandale Station Park for Pollinator Week on the 22nd, that's like 2 Saturdays from now, to talk about like the immense potential in that space if we don't turn it into an astroturf farm. But we also need to get effective really fast. And we gotta do it now, so we gotta figure out how. Now, my husband thought that it might move the needle if I plead the case for protecting the testicles of Barrie. Stay with me. Studies out of Toronto put the #2 source of microplastics in drinking water, just behind litter, with astroturf, runoff from artificial turf fields. So those microplastics go directly into the water, just like Peter said, and then we put the field in and the microplastics go right to our taps, right? I know, buddy. These are okay. So, recently the University of New Mexico found a plausible explanation for the free fall in sperm counts we've been seeing for the last several decades. Because they found endocrine disrupting microplastics in every single one of the 24 human and almost 50 dog testicles that they studied in a study that they published just in May. Every single testicle that they studied was riddled with microplastics. Okay. And frankly, it's gonna take balls to backtrack the project at this point. But it's not impossible. Council has reversed course before. We can do this. They can do it now because it needs to be done. And it needs to be done for the health of the planet, for the health of us, for the health of the lake, for the health of our kids. And my kid wants to talk. Is that okay? Can you share his thoughts?
Thanks, everyone. So, my name is Ben. I'm 8 years old, and I'm in grade 3.
What do you think about this?
So, it really upsets me to see the council making such a bad decision. Like, if you want to build a sports field, build it, like, somewhere less important for the earth. The possibility is that tiny specks of little plastic might be in our bodies because of astroturf, what the council is going to put on. Can you really think of that? Like, I can't imagine that. The council really needs to change their mind, or we're going to be mad.
From the mouths of babes, right?
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Ben. Well, what is the age for student mayors here in town? I think we gotta sign this young man up. Okay, our next speaker. Since retiring from teaching, our next speaker has been actively involved in protecting and enhancing green spaces in Barrie with the planting of native trees and native flowers through various organizations such as Nature Barrie, Barrie Garden Club, the Arboretum Committee, and Living Green. She's on the board of directors of Nature Barrie, where she heads up the role of community outreach and education, and has created relevant, informative, engaging presentations. As one of the founding members of the Barrie Bird Friendly team, she has written and illustrated 17 children's books, which shine the spotlight on the environment through narratives, modern fairy tales, and pattern stories. Please give a warm welcome to Gwen Peterman.
Now, I wrote this before I found out whether the trees are going to be cut down and destroyed. So I was thinking about the equivalency. So when residents are really concerned and upset about the plans to cut down mature, start again. Often when residents are really concerned, upset about the plans to cut down mature trees, they are reassured, do not worry, because all the trees will be replaced, so you don't have to worry about anything. Basically, they're trying to convince us that the benefits provided by newly planted saplings or young trees are equivalent to the ecological benefits of an established mature woodlot. Well, I beg to differ. Newly planted trees will not provide much needed habitats for birds like cardinals and mammals like chipmunks, raccoons, and squirrels. Newly planted trees will not provide food sources for birds like blue jays, pollinators like butterflies, and mammals like chipmunks. Newly planted trees do not have a massive network of roots that prevent light soil from being blown away or washed away, leaving behind a barren wasteland. And that's exactly what happens. As well, roots that grow far and wide will filter out pollutants and mitigate the impacts of flooding. Newly planted trees do not contain a huge canopy with hundreds and thousands of leaves that provides shade, thus reducing loss of soil moisture, and the countless fallen trees will create new fertile soil. Newly planted trees are not effective at all at sequestering carbon from the air and storing it in the soil, thus helping to reduce our ever-increasing greenhouse gases. As a matter of fact, you're talking about the oak savanna. One mature native oak tree, which we need back, support more life form than any other tree on Earth. And oak trees are native to Canada and this area. At the last count, a mature native oak tree supports over 2,000 organisms, including 147 species of birds. And that count changes constantly. So let's find a solution to create a new field that does not involve destroying the food sources and habitats for our local fauna and miss out on the incredible benefits provided by mature trees. Now, since I am a children's author, as I was writing this, a poem flew into my head. So bear with me. It's called More Trees, Please. More trees, please, chattered the chipmunks. But why, I cry. We need acorns to eat. More trees, please, twittered the birds. But why, I cry. We need branches for our nests. More trees, please, purred the raccoons. But why, I cry. We sleep on leafy branches. More trees, please, hissed the beavers. But why, I cry. We make lodges from branches. More trees, please, wheezed the deer. But why, I cry. We eat lots of tree leaves. More trees, please, mooed the moose. But why, I cry. We eat many small branches. More trees, please, rasped the squirrels. But why, I cry. We make leaf nests in the trees. More trees, please, buzzed the bees. But why, I cry. We use the resin from the leaves, from the trees, for our hives. More trees, please, yipped the foxes. But why, I cry. We live in the woods. More trees, please, grunted the porcupines. But why, I cry. We eat bark, fruit, and leaves. More trees, please, gurgled the fish. But why, I cry. We need shade to cool our eggs laid close to the shore. More trees, please, begged the people. But why, I cry. We need oxygen to breathe. We need tree roots to clean the soil and water. We need the fruits for vitamins. We need tree roots to absorb water during floodings. We need nuts for protein. We need tree roots to stop soil erosion. We need lumber for houses. We need tree roots to stop deserts from forming. We need paper for writing. We need tree leaves to absorb carbon dioxide. We need tree shades for cooling. And we need tree leaves to trap nests of pollutants. So we all need trees. Thank you.
Thank you, Gwen, and thank you to all of our speakers today for sharing your knowledge and passion and helping fight this good fight. A hand for the speakers, please. I'd also like to thank all the volunteers that have helped with this. People knocking on doors, signing petitions. The list goes on and on and on of all the things that have been going on in the back. And really, without you folks, it wouldn't happen and get this kind of a crowd. So thank you very much to all the volunteers who stepped up and helped out. Thank you. We want our politicians to listen to our concerns and to reconsider their position. There is a better solution. There can be a resolution. You can't ignore a petition that is now approaching 7,000 signatures if you include all the signed hard copies. And many have asked, so what's next? That's a good question. We have built a wonderful coalition of support with all of you included. We must continue engaging our leaders. Keep asking those questions. Ask why they won't look at alternate sites. We continue getting petitions signed. Keep calling and emailing your ward councillor. We applaud Ward 8 Councillor Jim Harris and Ward 4 Councillor Amy Corser. Can I use the word balls? They were the only two city councillors who had the gumption who stood up and asked their colleagues to do the right thing and amend the motion in order to have a proper public consultation with all residents, not just sports teams. Next Wednesday is the final city council and general committee meetings before they go on summer recess. So we need to put on a full court press. We need 4 councillors to change their vote and put forth a motion to reconsider. So if you live in one of the wards, keep speaking out, keep sharing. City Council, I implore that you meet with us. We are reasonable people, we have solutions. The citizens of Barrie have spoken loud and clear. We don't deserve to be ignored like this. We have opened a line of communication with the mayor's office about a week and a half ago. So let's talk this out. So some final words. Hey, ho, waterfront sports field has to go. 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 Thank you, Barrie. Stay strong.
I'm very surprised by the turnout today with the rally. Last week when we were here, or 2 weeks ago when we were here, there were a few less people. I'm very encouraged by the turnout again tonight. I think certainly in the 32 years I've been here in Barrie, this is the largest rally I have seen for anything. And I'm very impressed with people coming out. So I think that should send a message to all of council that you know, the people are the city, as we say, and the waterfront belongs to the people.
And why do you think so much turnout? Because when we were there, kind of doing the roll call from each ward, there were people, residents from each ward in today's, today's meeting. So why do you think that is the case?
I think that people are really interested. I think part of the problem has been there was no public consultation. People didn't know or understand what was happening. As we mentioned earlier, this all started like a year ago, but no one knew about it until just prior to the May 8th meeting. And so now people are just starting to understand, and we have a lot of volunteers out door knocking, walking the trails, talking to different people. So the message is getting out that there's actually something happening, and people are very concerned because the waterfront, as I'll say again, it's for the people. Last I heard, there was around 6,100 online, and we have pages and pages and pages of hard copy petition as well. So I think somebody guesstimated around 7,000 at this point. So that's pretty incredible, because when we provided them a link and a hard copy for either the May 8th or May 15th meeting, at that time there was only 2,700. So we've managed to do a lot in a little amount of time.
What are you hoping that next action?
Well, really it would have been nice had they voted along with Jim Harris and Amy Corser to defer this until the proper due diligence can be done, and they can investigate other sports fields around the city. Because we know, based on their own study that was done in 2019, that we have an abundance of sports fields, and even if some of those required, say for instance, lighting or the benches, it's certainly going to be a whole lot less than $4.6 million for synthesized astroturf.
All the committees that we have in Barrie, we have reference committees, we have advisory committees. So at least, this council, a lot of these committee meetings used to be aired online, available on Zoom. Even though the meetings used to be in the council chambers, they used to be, aired, available on Zoom, live, or after recording. And so many residents, talk to me about, because they live in, South End.
Right. I think.
Yeah, they can't come here.
Yes. So I think what people, and I'm not sure about which ones are Zoomed now that you say that, One of the things that I do is I follow the City of Barrie's official YouTube channel. So the YouTube channel you can watch live. And so
that's only city council meeting,
and
local committee meeting,
that's right.
and affordability committee.
Right.
Meeting.
So the advisory committees is what you're talking about.
Yes,
so I sat on.
Meeting,
that's
yeah.
right. So I sat on the Heritage Committee up until just recently, and our meetings were zoomed for the public so that they could see what was going on. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, and to be honest, I'm not even still sure why they are not zooming meetings anymore, because it gives people an opportunity to be involved in what's going on in the city. People can't be physically in a meeting across, any advisory. Sometimes you just need to be calling in from home to partake and participate in things. So, I would like to see them get back to that, certainly, because I think, it gives people an opportunity to partake.
Yeah, I reached out to the, clerk, city clerk, Wendy Cook, and she mentioned, there was a lot of resources required for those meetings.
Right.
But when I talked to the residents, they said, this is important.
Yes.
The resources
Yes.
allocation is important because that encourages
Yeah.
citizen participation.
And I think the other thing that the city really has to start to pay attention to is seniors. Because, based on some of the things that they're doing in terms of transit, hot spots for parking, just various things, that there are thousands of citizens in the city of Barrie that don't have a cell phone, that they don't do that. And I think that they need to be paying attention to the seniors so that people can participate in what's going on in this city, because it's becoming less and less friendly to senior residents, especially.
What was your first reaction?
Well, it was anger and panic, to be honest with you. It was like anger as to why we were not consulted. The mayor says that the public was consulted. Well, that is true if you count sports teams and cadets. They consulted with Barrie Soccer Club, they consulted with lacrosse, Barrie Rugby, football last fall, September 2023. They did not consult the public at large. There was no public meetings. There was no signage posted along the waterfront. So they had meetings with sports clubs about this. If you call that public notification, well, they did not notify the public as a whole. And that's what's upset people. This was organized by Friends of Allandale Station Park. This is our second rally that we have done here at City Hall in order to try and get City Council to reconsider their motion to put a synthetic field, all multi-use sports field on the Barrie City Hall waterfront in the South Shore. Roughly May the 3rd, a colleague, Cathy Colebatch, was having a morning coffee on a Saturday morning. Just out of curiosity, was wondering what was on the agenda for City Council Wednesday evening, and she saw this motion for a waterfront sports field. And so she started emailing several of us and said, did any of you know about this? And nobody knew about it. None of us knew about it, and we follow local politics quite closely. And so that happened, so then we just sort of quickly said, well, we need to gather people, get together. So we met together to decide what could we do going forward. And so we decided to attend council meeting to see what they were doing and what they're proposing. So we attended council meeting on May the 8th, and that's when they voted to put the motion forward to May 15th. On May 15th, they voted 9-2 in favor of putting the sports field there on the waterfront without public consultation. After the May 15th vote, I was very discouraged. I went up north to a place that I've been going to since 1971. That's been in the family. I did some soul searching, and my anger turned towards what can we do? So I gave it 6 days. I realized that not much was really happening here around it. So I went on a community Facebook page and I said, I think we should do a rally. Who's with me? And slowly people, one by one, sort of said, yes, I think this is wrong. I think we need to do something about this. We were not consulted, so word of mouth spread and spread and spread. And within a week or so, we had hundreds and hundreds of people on our side. And like I said, the collective action has happened, and now we've gone from a handful of people to several hundred.
I heard it's more than 6,000 online and 1,000 physical signatures.
that sounds about right as of this afternoon. So roughly 7,000 signatures, as far as I know. I mean, there are volunteers who are counting all of those signatures. A stack of 233 were handed to me on Monday. They're coming in all the time. We're having people even knocking on doors this evening after the rally. Like, we're not stopping. And we have a week to really basically try and get council to reconsider this before their summer recess.
And you said, you have opened a communication channel with the mayor's office. So have you personally met Mayor Alex Nuttall? I have not personally, no. So anybody from your organizations, has he reached out? Has the council reached out?
I'm gonna. So with respect to the process, I'm not going to comment on that right now. I will just say that we have an open line of communication with the mayor's office, and I'll leave it at that.
So what are you hoping to happen next Wednesday?
In a perfect world, 4 city councilors will change their mind and join Councillors Harris and Courser and put in a motion to reconsider the vote. And because basically my understanding is they need a minor majority, so 6 councillors, to put forward a recommendation to reconsider the motion for public consultation. In a perfect world, that's what we're hoping for. So we're going to continue to engage city council members. We are continuing our petition. We're continuing door-to-door canvassing. There are some other options failing that before Wednesday that we've also looked at, but I'm not at liberty to discuss those at this time.